today. Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God, what is that?
Fine, for the sake of completeness, we're going to talk about her. Maybe it's the ADHD. Maybe it's the way she talks like she's reading bedtime stories to sloths. Either way, Fluorite appearing on screen has always felt like a fever dream I didn't ask for. Her cadence tests the limits of my patience. Not even watching at 2x speed could save me. But that's not what this is about. This isn't about how I feel about Fluorite. This is about her gem placements. And trust me, they explain a lot. She's a fusion of 6 gems, 2 gems on her forehead, 3 on her chest, 1 on her navel. Now, if you've been following along, you already know the code. The forehead is the seat of intellect and perception. So Fluorite having 2 of them gives double PhD energy. But instead of manifesting like Peridot's clinical precision, Fluorite's smarts come wrapped in warmth. Why? Because those 3 chest gems scream emotional expression. The chest is where gems wear their hearts. So when 3 of her components lead with emotion, it's no wonder she radiates this ancient, nurturing, tell me your secrets, child type aura. You feel it in the way she speaks. It's slow but deliberate, emotional, safe. And then there's the gem on her navel. That's grounding, empathy, stability. Gems with navel placements often give off strong maternal or caregiving energy. So when you put all of that together, you get the spiritual space grandma of the off-colors. A being who's not in a rush because she's already seen it all. She's not slow because she's clueless. She's slow because she's listening. Her fusion form is also a solid case study in gem alignment. When gems with the same placements fuse, those placements often line up with Fluorite, the gems on her forehead seat in a neat vertical stack, like chakra points. And side note, Fluorite, being the ship's engineer, makes perfect sense. Engineering isn't just a technical skill, it's long-term thinking, patience, and deep systems understanding. Gems with forehead placements are known to be phenomenal engineers, and Fluorite has 2 to show for it. So yeah, is her presence grating to me personally? Kinda. But if we're talking symbolism, fusion, design, and placement psychology, Fluorite is a pretty good case study.
Looks like another waste of my time.
You know the phrase, hard-nosed? It means someone who's tough, practical, and emotionally bulletproof. That's Jasper. And the fact that her gem literally sits on her nose. It's a metaphor, a visual punchline for who she is. Jasper is stubborn, uncompromising. A gem built for war, hardwired to believe that strength is virtue and emotion is a liability. Even when the diamonds themselves evolved, when Homeworld rebranded its entire ideology, Jasper didn't flinch. She clung to the old ways like her survival depended on them. Because for her, it did. The nose leads the body. Always forward, always first. Just like Jasper, charging into battle without hesitation. She sees the world in binaries. Power equals worth. Weakness equals failure. No nuance, no grey area. No space for softness. She's a blunt force weapon. Efficient, brutal, and deeply uninterested in anything that can't be solved with a fist. She rarely, if ever, shows vulnerability. Even when she was inches away from total corruption and Stephen offered to help, she rejected him violently, called it a trap, said that's how rose quartz works. She catches you when you're weak, when you're vulnerable, when you've got nothing left. She'd rather lose her mind in a bout of corruption than be subservient to the enemy. And honestly, I get it, because there are people, predators, who wait for your lowest moment. They worm their way into your mind, whisper ideas, until you think they're your own, until you're cut off from your friends, your family, your instincts. And when it all falls apart, they're the first to vanish. So yeah, Jasper's reaction is extreme, but not irrational. Jasper's loyalty to Homeworld was never about love or belonging. It was hierarchy. It was order. She didn't want connection. She wanted command. She wanted someone to salute and someone to smash things for. Her emotional range? About as deep as a puddle in the desert. Even what looked like vulnerability, like her desperate fusion plea towards Lapis, wasn't about love or regret or emotional healing. It was about power, becoming stronger than the humiliation, stronger than the pain, stronger than herself. Jasper may be hard-nosed, but she does change some of her views.
Fusion is just a cheap tactic to make weak gems stronger.
A few moments later.
I was wrong about fusion, but you are not my diamond, and I am not going to take orders from some.
A few moments later.
I bow to your strength, my diamond.
Her view change on fusion and Stephen have one thing in common: defeat. Not introspection or a heart-to-heart, just pure, ego-crushing defeat. When Garnet overpowered her, when Stephen sent her to the underworld, only then did she re-evaluate fusion. Only then did she consider Stephen might be something more. Her worldview is built on victory, so losing is the only thing strong enough to override the system. Only after total obliteration did she see what everyone else already knew. The world had changed, and she didn't know how to change with it. Duty and power is all she knows. Thanks, I'll be here all week. You know how people say someone has their nose in the air when they think they're better than everyone else? Yeah, Jasper fits the bill. And to be fair, she had the resume to back it up. Jasper wasn't just another quartz, she was the soldier. Rubies told stories about her around the fire. Other quartzes wanted to be her. Half the Homeworld fleet probably still has her trading cards. She was strong, legendary, undefeated, and in her eyes that made everyone else background noise. But here's the problem with living on a pedestal. When the ground shifts, you fall harder. Jasper clung to her old ideals like a lifeline. Power, pride, an empire that didn't even send her a thank you note. And when it all started crumbling, she didn't adapt, she didn't bend, she just shattered. Not merely from a fight or an enemy, but from herself. She set it up with her very own hands.
Cut!
Hey kids, don't let this happen to you!
Ideally, Sunstone would have shown up back when we were talking about Garnet. But hey, better late than never. Sunstone, like Jasper, is strong, really strong. They literally tanked a full-force stomp from Pink Diamond's ship. No flinching, no cracks. But here's the difference. Sunstone's strength isn't about dominance or ego. It's not performative, it's protective. That power exists only to lift others up. And that's where Stephen comes in. His gem is on his navel, the emotional center, the empathy core. So when that placement fuses with Garnet's raw, stoic power, you don't get a soldier, you get a role model. Sunstone's that Saturday morning cartoon mascot who tells kids not to do drugs while doing a backflip off a skateboard. They teach, they uplift, they encourage. Their strength with heart, just like Rainbow Quartz. Both of them, Rainbow and Sunstone, shine in their connection with kids. And it all traces back to Stephen's gem. The empathy at his center doesn't just make him feel for others, it reshapes the whole fusion. Turns power into protection, turns charisma into comfort, turns a warrior into a hero kids can actually trust.
I'm not like you and your friend, Stephen. I can't just let go of what happened to me. Can't go through that again.
Few gems in Steven Universe embody both staggering power and paralyzing vulnerability, quite like Lapis. Lapis isn't loud, she's not boastful, but when she moves, the world listens. Oceans rise, skies tremble. She 1v3'd the crystal gems like it was nothing. She withstood one of Blue Diamond's emotional wavelengths, a feat only Yellow Diamond had previously managed. And yet, she cowers. She flinches like a deer being hunted. This behavior is tied directly to her gem placement, her back, a position that symbolizes fear, trauma, and the weight of past pain. Her gem is located on her upper back, just below her neck. And while that placement might seem like a neat anatomical choice to anchor her water wings, Rebecca Sugar confirmed it's far more deliberate than that. Besides, the other Lapises, having different placements, were also able to summon these wings. According to Sugar, having your gem on your back indicates having no control, a lack of understanding of herself, being vulnerable. She's unable to find direction because she can't see a big part of herself clearly, even when it's totally exposed to everyone else. Lapis doesn't wear her identity where she can see it. It's behind her. She has to twist unnaturally to even touch it. She's exposed to the world, but blind to her own identity. She literally can't face it. She didn't choose her fate. She didn't choose the mirror. She didn't choose the war. Other people made choices that scarred her, and now that weight lives on her back, unseen but ever present. Which brings us to Malachite. Lapis agreed to fuse with Jasper, sure to protect Stephen, but it went deeper than that. All her life, decisions were made for her, at her expense. She was a pawn in someone else's game. Then Jasper handed her an opportunity of a lifetime with outstretched hand, an opportunity to exert her revenge, to be in control. For once Lapis could call the shots. She could punish someone else, and in a twisted way, that made her feel powerful. Lapis doesn't move forward easily. Her trauma lingers, pulling at her like an anchor. That's why she isolates herself. That's why she struggles to forgive. When you carry pain on your back, it becomes harder to let go, because you never really see it leave. You just keep feeling it. Her placement makes her cautious, skeptical, and constantly on edge, like she's being watched. Like danger is always 2 steps behind her. She obsesses over worst-case scenarios, and ironically, despite her being the most powerful water user we've seen, an element symbolic of change, she herself struggles to adapt. That's why she was jealous of Navy. Navy adjusted effortlessly, found joy, loved Earth, no fear, no hesitation.
Something is seriously wrong with me. It took me so long to learn to like this planet.
Hey, no one said there's a rush.
Navy just loves everyone and everything right away. She has no guard, no fear. I just don't get it. Why is it so easy for her when it was so hard for me?
To Lapis, that made no sense. How could someone adapt so easily to the same chaos that trapped her? So when Navy betrayed them, Lapis was thrilled. Not because she wanted the team to fail, but because it proved her right. It couldn't be that easy for anyone. Small callback to part 1 where I said not to underestimate naval placements. Yeah, their outward empathy-doused mannerisms may mislead you, hiding something far more grim and sadistic. In the episode Raising the Barn, Lapis learns that Steven escaped the diamonds and believes they would attack Earth as retaliation. She refuses to get caught up in another war. Her trauma, her past, gets in the way of the life she's now built on Earth, and she physically and metaphorically uproots it from the ground to live in the cold darkness of space, away from love's warmth, yes, but more importantly, away from being caught up in the consequences of other people's decisions. Her coming back to face the diamonds alongside the crystal gems was an open declaration of not letting her past rule her any longer. We've seen this before, gems defined by their placements, but not confined by them, like forehead gems learning to embrace emotion, or chest gems developing self-control. They don't erase who they are overnight, but they shift, they stretch, they grow, painfully, imperfectly, beautifully. And Lapis, she's still carrying that weight, but now she's learning to stand up straight. Now let's contrast our Lapis with the ones we meet in Why So Blue. The more aggressive of the pair wears her gem on her shoulder, a classic upper limb placement we touched on in part 2. It's a location associated with brute force, action over reflection. She doesn't think through problems, she confronts them head on. Obstacle, smash it. Idea she doesn't like, mock it. And when I saw her gem placement and its angular shape, a phrase popped into my mind, a chip on your shoulder. That phrase isn't just about bitterness, it's a psychological stance. Resentment worn like armor, a posture shaped by feeling underestimated, by carrying something unresolved. And that's exactly how this Lapis behaves. She mocks Earth. She scorns change. And when new ideas challenge her worldview, she doesn't consider them. She digs in deeper. Her hostility isn't born from fear like our Lapis. It's a product of disillusionment, and she wears it where she can always feel it. Right on her shoulder. No hiding, no shame, just pure, unchecked aggression. Then there's the other Lapis, softer, more curious. Her gem sits delicately on her navel, a place we've already explored as the seat of empathy, emotional instinct, and connection. The navel symbolizes care, openness, and responsiveness. So it's no surprise this Lapis doesn't lead with force, she leads with feeling. She watches Steven dance and tries to mirror him. There's something almost childlike in her approach. Tentative, but genuine, until the shoulder gem Lapis mocks her. Then instantly, she recoils. The joy was real, but so was the fear of standing out, the fear of being vulnerable. And yet, she's the one who comes back. She joins Little Homeschool. She chooses learning over resistance, curiosity over conformity. That single choice tells us everything about her. That naval placement isn't just about potential, it's about willingness. The willingness to connect, to change, to grow. All of them are Lapises. All of them command the same terrifying hydrokinesis. All of them can sprout wings. So no, the gem's position doesn't affect what they can do, but it absolutely affects who they are. And that's why our Lapis stands apart. She had every reason, every ability to dominate. She could have crushed her enemies, silenced her critics, become the very weapon Homeworld wanted her to be. But her gem, ingrained in her back, was never about assertion. It was about endurance. It was about surviving things she never asked for. Her back placement is a silent archive of the battles she didn't choose, of the pain she never saw coming but had to carry anyway. She's always had to watch her own back, because no one else would. And yet, she grew. She let go of the ocean's weight. She gave Earth another chance. And eventually, she found peace. Not because the pain vanished, but because she chose to stop running from it. She turned toward the weight, and for once she didn't let it define her. The lapises teach us that even gems of the same type can develop vastly different personalities based on one subtle factor: where their gem is placed. And if you need proof, look no further than the rubies and hit the diamond. At a glance, they're clones, same purpose, same scowl. But watch closely and you'll see something shift. Their gem placements fracture them into distinct personalities. Like shards scattered from the same original stone, each one carries a different emotional weight, pulled into shape by where that gem sits. Let's start with the one who doesn't yell, doesn't puff her chest, doesn't throw a punch, unless you count hijacking a spaceship with a smile as an act of aggression. Navy, with her gem nestled at her navel, is a gentle disruption to what we expect from rubies. She's soft-spoken, disarmingly polite, and emotionally attuned in a way the others simply aren't. That placement says it all. The navel, symbolically tied to birth, care, and emotional instinct. It's the site of connection, where nourishment once passed, where bonds are formed. Gems like Stephen, smoky quartz, and rhodonite share this placement, and like them, Navy leads with warmth. She doesn't disarm you with power, she disarms you with kindness, and then promptly hijacks your ship like it's a polite inconvenience. She's the velvet glove over the iron ruby core. Now contrast that with Army, whose gem bulges from her bicep like a badge of brute force. She's the tank of the group, not here for subtlety. Army is all grit and grunt, a gem born to take orders and hit things very hard. That bicep placement symbolizes direct physical engagement. Her strength isn't just metaphorical, it's mechanical. She doesn't just embody muscle. Her gem is embedded in it. She's the arm of the operation, literally. And then there's Leggy. Her placement represents the unsteadiness of new legs. Just as a child or young animal wobbles when first learning to walk, naive individuals find their footing in life through experience. This physical instability mirrors intellectual or emotional uncertainty. And it's confirmed in an artwork by Rebecca Sugar that Leggy was made the day before. Her gem placement also alludes to moving without direction. Naive characters often wander aimlessly or follow others' paths, lacking the experience to chart their own course. Their legs carry them forward without clear purpose or understanding of consequences. We see this when Stephen asked Leggy what their mission was, and she had no idea. She was just following the other rubies, not knowing why.
What brings you back to Earth?
I don't know.
Oh, I understand. I used to forget why we go on missions all the time.
I'll just go stand over here then.
This naivety leaves her vulnerable to stumbling both literally and figuratively. Then we meet Doc. Her gem is pressed squarely against her chest, a placement that signals emotional expressiveness and a sense of central identity. This is the ruby barking orders, holding the clipboard and trying, desperately, to appear in control. She's the leader of the pack, or at least the one with the loudest voice. And like Bismuth, whose chest placement symbolizes passion for her work, Doc leads from her emotions. Her anger is earnest, her confidence is reactive, and when things fall apart, it's her chest that heaves first. But no ruby cuts sharper than eyeball. Her gem is embedded directly into her eye, in the way of a sentinel. Her vision is literal, her worldview blunt. She's the first ruby to emerge from the ship and instinctively scans the perimeter. She doesn't ask questions, she surveys, she locks in, she remembers. Because that's what an eye gem does. It records, observes, bears witness. An eyeball did just that. She witnessed rose quartz shatter pink diamond, or so she thought. See, this is where eyeball becomes the perfect tragic footnote in Homeworld's story. She saw something real, but misread the meaning. It wasn't rose, it was pearl, disguised. But eyeball doesn't entertain doubt. Her perception is her truth. That's the limitation and danger of the eye placement. It sees everything but never questions. It reflects facts, not context. It's just vision, raw, unfiltered, maybe wrong. She was also called upon as a key witness in Stephen's trial. Nephrite, in her interaction with Stephen, attempts to explain the circumstances of her arrival on Earth and what led to the catastrophic blast from the diamonds, that haunting counter-melody of piercing light that left most gems on the planet's surface with fractured minds and bodies. So you see, once again, an eye placement acted as an observer in the Steven Universe storyline. Her gem placement allows her to be the witness, able to recount everything in vivid detail, a silent narrator of the events she saw unfold. Her initial mission on Earth was likely one of reconnaissance, gathering intel and providing an objective record of what transpired. These eye gems aren't just passive observers, they are often the ones chosen to navigate, to pilot. Eyeball, for example, assisted with piloting the Ruby Eye, likely chosen not only for her combat abilities, but for her keen navigation skills. Her gem placement grants her the ability to track and guide, which is why she was sent on the mission to locate Jasper. Similarly, Nephrite piloted her ship, which eventually became ensnared in the Diamond's corrupting blast. Her crew was corrupted, and her mission was permanently derailed. Emerald isn't excluded. She pilots a ship called the Sun Incinerator, the one Lars and his crew hijacked. The navigation skill isn't lost on her as well. She was able to easily track down Lars and the off-colors. Emerald has a space pirate vibe about her, so her gem placement may also be from a design standpoint, to signify where the eye patch commonly worn by pirates would be. So in short, they're all rubies, but the placement of their gems fractures that uniformity, revealing a spectrum of differences. No need for new gem types to create depth, just change the perspective and watch the complexity unfold. So next time someone calls rubies interchangeable, show them Leggy's nervous legs, show them Navy's disarming kindness, show them Eyeball's cold, unwavering stare, and then remind them, even identical gems can be wildly different, because where you carry your identity matters just as much as what you're made of.
Fuse with me!
What?
How long did they keep you trapped here on this miserable hunk of rock?
Malachite is a battleground, an internal war, a clash for control. Her gem placement reveals everything about why she feels so inherently off. Volatile, toxic, torn between two forces. Jasper's gem sits on her nose, a placement that's inherently confrontational. She charges forward with no hesitation, determined to control her surroundings. Contrast that with Lapis's gem, positioned on her back, a place of retreat. Her back reflects someone who has experienced life as something that happens to her. Lapis's trauma is embedded in her gem placement, a constant reminder of her powerlessness. Fuse those two, and you get Malachite, a being torn between unyielding aggression and deep-seated fear. Jasper's nose pushes forward, striving for dominance, while Lapis's back recoils, retreating into herself. The fusion embodies emotional captivity, a struggle between the fear of being consumed by another and the desire to be free. Lapis, trapped in her own fear and trauma, clings to Jasper, letting her frustrations and rage spill out in their combined form. Jasper gives Lapis the strength to act, to retaliate, to drown out the fear, but Lapis knows the cost. She feels Jasper's fearless charge, but also knows what she's capable of, and the destructive power that comes with it. She's torn between her desire for revenge and the fear of losing herself to it. Their fusion mirrors toxic relationships in real life. When people who are fundamentally incompatible come together, they often spiral, feeding into each other's worst tendencies. But when the relationship ends, there's a strange sense of loss. One person may feel responsible for the other's actions or emotions, giving validation through neediness, while the other exploits that dynamic to avoid accountability. Over time, both lose themselves, erasing boundaries and identity. Jasper and Lapis's psychological similarities are undeniable. They both despise change, but respond in starkly different ways. Jasper fights to keep things the same, even if it means violence. Lapis, on the other hand, avoids conflict altogether, running from whatever threatens her fragile sense of stability. Join my Discord and submit your gem original character designs. Along with your design, include a note explaining how your character's gem placement influences their personality and behavior for a chance to be featured in the final part of this series. Submit your entries in the Gem OC submission text channel. The link is in the description below. Don't be afraid to get really creative. Can't wait to see your creations.